Episode 16. Auntie in the Box. Yesterday, Rose Wayne had thought that her problems were solved because of Ray's help, and Rose had said that it was due to President William Chase's help. So Ray didn't have the slightest doubt in his mind that it was because of his father's influence. Ray looked at the others with a bit of guilt. They were all looking at him and feeling very uneasy.
Okay, thank you, Dad. Rose is also very grateful to you,
Ray said loudly. With that, he hung up the phone. Ray turned to look at Sue, Rose's aunt. His eyes flickered slightly as he forced himself to calm down. He said,
I've checked with my dad. It was my dad who called President Chase yesterday. We solved this problem.
Auntie, look, it's like I told you earlier. It must have been because of Ray's help, but you're still so suspicious of him.
Rose's eyes showed a hint of complaint. She looked at Ray and smiled sweetly.
Ray, don't blame my aunt. She's a little too careful sometimes.
Why would that be? Don't worry,
Ray said as he smiled. Sue was still a little hesitant, and she wanted to confirm this herself. But at that moment, her attention was no longer on Ray.
Girl, I came to see you in a hurry. I didn't even eat lunch. I'm starving.
Sue said, rubbing her stomach.
Aunt, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. My friends haven't eaten either. Why don't I order takeout for you? I'll order some.
Rose said to Sue after looking at her friends who had been with her all morning.
All right.
Sue said.
We can order takeout, but I'm really hungry now.
The others all responded.
Hey, what's this?
Sue happened to glance at the box of food on the floor and walked over.
Auntie, don't touch that thing. It's only $1 or $2 worth of fried noodles and rice. I'm going to give it to the cleaners later to feed the dogs.
Rose frowned.
Rose, no matter how much money it is, how can I just throw it away like that? I'm really hungry. Let's eat something first.
Sue said as she opened the box. A rich fragrance instantly wafted out from the box.
It smells so good.
Exclaimed one friend.
Why is it so fragrant?
Asked another.
What's inside?
Wondered yet another. Everyone in the room gasped in wonder and surrounded the boxes of food. Sue took out all the smaller boxes that were inside and placed them on the cabinet beside the bed.
This is Louis XIII from 1980.
She pulled out a round bottle of sparkling red wine.
This bottle of Louis XIII is over $6,000.
She exclaimed as the others gawked at the wine bottle in Sue's hand.
Auntie, are you sure?
Rose looked at Sue in disbelief. No matter what, she couldn't link the $6,000 bottle of Louis XIII with Jeff. Sue opened the bottle and sniffed, then looked at Rose happily.
Really? I've sipped this wine once before when I was on business in France. It tastes exactly like this.
She put down the wine bottle. The others had already opened the boxes one by one, and the fragrance filled the entire room.
These are Brittany Blue Lobster.
Sue exclaimed as she looked at the blue lobster in the box.
What? What is a Brittany Blue Lobster?
The others looked around at each other in confusion.
Brittany Blue Lobsters are the world's first choice for seafood dishes in Michelin restaurants. It's a very rare kind of lobster. The chances of it being caught are only 1 in a million, so there are very few in the country.
Sue continued.
I often need to eat with guests at work, so I know quite a lot about famous ingredients like this. This is Kobe steak.
Sue exclaimed again as she looked back into the box.
Look, this steak looks like a snowflake with fat and thin patterns like marble. This is the most obvious way to recognize a Kobe steak. This is caviar from the Nava River.
She went on.
This is Japanese white puffer fish.
Sue pulled out more delicacies.
Hungarian magritzer pig.
Sue was astounded. Her surprises continued as they took out food items.
Oh my gosh. These dishes are all made from top quality ingredients. The taste and price are way beyond that of an average restaurant. To be able to use so many of the world's most rare ingredients, I've never even seen this in a high-class hotel before.
Sue's eyes sparkled.
Auntie, we've never eaten these delicacies before. Are you trying to tease us?
Rose knew that Sue was experienced and knowledgeable, but she just didn't believe that Jeff would bring her such expensive food.
Hey, do you think your Annie is joking with you?
Sue glanced at Rose speechlessly.
These dishes are still hot. Let's hurry up and get started eating them. It won't taste as good once it gets cold.
Yep, it's delicious,
said one friend.
It's so fragrant, I've never eaten such delicious food,
said another. After eating, the others in the room all sighed with praise.
Rose, you should try it too.
Susan passed a pair of chopsticks to Rose. Rose hesitantly picked up a piece of Toby's steak and put it in her mouth. An indescribable taste filled her senses. It was even more delicious than any steak she had ever eaten before. These dishes were simply too delicious. Plus, no one had eaten lunch yet. The dozen or so boxes of food were all polished off quickly.
Well, I didn't expect that there would be someone who would give you such fantastic dishes.
Sue smiled in satisfaction and looked at her watch.
It's getting late. It's time for me to go back.
With that, Sue walked to the door of the room, turned to Rose and said,
Rose, only a rich person could give you such a rare and expensive of gift. These things are not something that can be eaten just because you have some money.
Rich person? Could that describe Jeff?
thought Rose. After Sue left, Susan walked to Rose's side and said,
Rose, it seems that you've misunderstood Jeff. I think you should find some time to apologize to him.
Me apologize?
asked Rose. Rose was speechless, but she still hated Jeff.
Why apologize to him? How could a poor man like that be able to afford such expensive dishes? I think it must be because he worked at some hotel somewhere and brought back leftovers from somebody else's meals.
What?
Susan didn't expect Rose to say that.
These dishes were intact. How could they be packaged? Besides, how could a hotel let employees walk away with a $6,000 bottle of Louis XIII?
Thought Susan. The group dispersed after they finished their meal at the hospital. Jeff told a small lie and said that he was working in a high-end hotel in the city. His boss felt sorry for him, so he gave him the food. Joe and the others asked him again, but Jeff didn't say anything more about it, so they had no choice but to give up. After the afternoon class, Jeff followed the stream of students out of the building.
Jeff,
A girl's voice rang out.
you haven't watched my live stream, have you?
Jeff turned around. The girl was Minnie, who ran the live stream that Jeff and his doormats were watching days before.
I've streamed twice already. I haven't seen you in the streaming room. Hurry up and register an account. Help me see how I can increase my popularity.
Minnie pouted and looked at Jeff in dissatisfaction.
Minnie, what's the use of having him pay attention to you? You can't be interested in him, right?
Teased the girl beside Minnie.
I just wanted him to make me more popular.
Minnie lowered her head slightly and whispered.
Why would I fall in love with him?
Stop joking with me. It's the same whether you have him or not. From what I heard, he definitely won't help you. He's very stingy.
Jonah, Jeff's ex casually said as she walked over from the back.
Jonah's right. What's the use of having fans that don't help others?
Another girl said from beside Minnie, glancing at Jeff. The girls chatted with each other.
Last time, that tycoon in your life blog was too awesome.
He gave me over a $1,000 on top of what others had given. That guy was no ordinary tycoon.
That's right. I watched it yesterday. Minnie made it to the top 300. A host who just started streaming twice could make it into the top 300.
Minnie's future is limitless. Minnie, when you become a big streamer in the future, don't forget your good sisters.
The girls beside Minnie were trying to win her favor. Minnie instantly became the target of all the girls' flattery, becoming the center of their attention. Jonah felt a little uncomfortable as she stood off to the side. In the past, she was almost as popular as Minnie among the other girls, but now she was being ignored. Jonah's heart was thumping.
What's so special about it? Isn't it just acting flirtatiously in the live stream, luring the tycoons into giving her help? If I did a live stream, would that tycoon still be there to help you?
At that moment, a black Passat drove slowly to the front of the building. The window of the car was open and the person driving was a boy from the university. Many students who passed by looked at him with envy. The car stopped and a casually dressed boy got out.
Jake!
Jonah exclaimed in surprise when she saw the boy.
Jake, I'm here.
Saying that, Jonah waved her hand and ran toward Jake with a smile. Jake grabbed Jonah's hand. Jonah took the initiative and kissed him lightly on the lips. Everyone looked at them. Jake opened the car door for Jonah. Then he got back into the driver's seat and drove away slowly. Jonah looked out the window and saw the envious gazes from the other students. She felt extremely satisfied in her heart. After all, There were only a handful of people who could afford to drive a car in university. Jonah felt that she had gained a lot of faces.
It was a good choice for me to give up on Jeff, that pauper. It would have never been possible for Jeff to pick me up in a car like this,
she thought.
And today, they even kiss in front of Jeff.
Jonah felt extremely satisfied.
Jeff, open your eyes and see what kind of life I will have after I left you. It's 100 times better than being with you.
She unkindly thought to herself.